And we're back. You're listening to the Talkin Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us. Speaking of joining us, don't forget about following us on Twitter. It's at Talkin Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing. And today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria Italiano Ristorante, located in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. And it's where we had another great event this past weekend. Sal was the host, and we ate some great food. As a matter of fact, I got to admit, I ate a whole pizza the one day myself. The second day, I shared half the pie with my man, Carl King. But we enjoyed the fights. We broadcast live on LDL TV. Hope you guys saw it. And speaking of Sal, Rocky Cenicola, he joins us right now. What's up, Sal?
Billy C in this corner. How are you, buddy?
How you doing, man? How you making out?
Doing great. Doing great. We're just picking up the pizzas. How about picking up the pieces after we had a great weekend with you and John, and of course Carl King and many other folks and visitors. It was a great weekend.
Yeah, it certainly was, and we got treated to a decent card. I mean, I personally don't believe it was worth a pay-per-view for fans to buy it. I think it was a basically like an HBO level fight, but it was more entertaining than the Pacquiao fight. Let's talk about the Berto Mayweather fight. Personally, listen, we talked about it before. We've been talking about it for 2 months. The bottom line is Mayweather cherry-picked Berto, and we knew what he was going to get. I thought that Berto actually was cutting the ring off. I thought that he was putting himself in a position to inflict some damage on Mayweather, but he didn't pull the trigger, Sal. He didn't throw enough punches. He did land a few, and some of them did rock Mayweather enough to keep Mayweather on his bicycle. How did you see the fight unfold, and what do you think is next for Mayweather? Is he really going to retire?
All right, Billy, I'm going to tell you, you hit a lot of good points, a lot of things you and I discussed afterwards, and I also did with John, most of the units, and Carl. We had a great post-fight wrap-up, but I'll tell you, going into that fight, I was touting, my mantra was, hey, it may not be a great fight, but we're going to have a great night. Well, we did have a great night. We did, but I'll tell you what. I was more impressed with the fact that we did see a pretty darn good fight between the two combatants there. I really do think that Mayweather surprised me, and I got to give respect where respect is due. And I'm not by any way, shape, or form a Mayweather fan, but he earned my respect on some level the other evening, and I'll tell you why. I saw glimpses of what I think was going to be the real true Mayweather and how he was been touted as running and this and that. But more importantly, and I want to make this clear, you're looking at a fighter who I even had blamed or so for not giving us the excitement or taking him to his opponent and picking his opponent. And, I will tell you, Berto was a formidable foe in a sense. And like you said earlier, I saw moments where I said, jump on it now, Berto. Maybe Floyd threw a right hand, and he was exposed, his whole head at the time. And a good counter, chopping right would have been lights out and nights out for Mayweather. And I kept saying, pull that trigger. And just as I said it, he was already behind, too late. Berto tried to pull the trigger. He just couldn't. Now, was that because he was too slow? Or was that because Mayweather, he's got that innate ability and a kinesthetic sense, knowing where he is at all times, to actually make that difference and slip that punch the way he did. And you know what? I think it's more of that latter and not the former. And Mayweather impressed me. And I'm going to tell you another thing, Billy. You look at the effects of boxing and fighting today, as it always has been, but only being in the form of the knowledge for the fans and the fighters themselves. Maybe there's a reason Mayweather chose to fight the style he chose to fight throughout many of his career bouts. And I'm going to get into that a little later, but I think Mayweather, we'll see him again. I think it's too much of a close tie that I don't think he can walk away from, because he's got a risky gambler's risk taker personality, and that can only be stifled or nullified for so long internally, and those juices are going to start flowing after he's repressed himself a little bit and not wanting to taste the fire again. And the little demons are going to creep in, and he's going to want to get back in the ring, and I think he's going to want to try and go for 50 wins. How about you? You think?
Yeah. I think he's definitely going to go for 50. I think that's his goal all along. But, listen, Sal, yes, I agree with you about Mayweather looking good. It was a little more exciting. He did seem like he wanted to engage a little more. But the thing is that, remember something. Andre Berto is a very ordinary fighter. This isn't a guy with anything exceptional. The only exceptional anything he has could be his punching power, if that. But, his stance is way too wide. I told you about it before the fight, and I pointed it out during the fight to you. And he didn't let his hands go enough. It seemed like he was overthinking in there. The first couple of rounds he gave away to Mayweather, which is a stupid thing to do. I mean, when you're fighting a guy like Floyd Mayweather, you don't want to give him anything. You want to rough him up. I thought he showed too much respect. I thought Mayweather needed to be roughed up a little, body shots and pushing him, maybe hitting him below the belt a little bit. I mean, that's the kind of fight you needed to do, a rough and tumble street fight kind of a fight with Mayweather to get him out of his game. Instead, I think that Berto played the part. He did what Floyd expected him to do. And when I look at Floyd Mayweather, especially his last 6 or 7 opponents, they're all basically the same kind of a fighter. They're one-dimensional. They're a power puncher. They come right at you. They just stalk you and chase you and get you in a position, and then they don't do anything about it. The closest guy that came to let his hands go all the time was Marcos Maidana, but the difference is Maidana's not an accurate puncher. So Floyd kind of had a little bit of an advantage there, although he did get caught with some. I think that Floyd showed that his legs are aging. I know we talked about it in the post-fight and the pre-fight shows that we did. He lays on the ropes more. I think that's not a rope-a-dope approach. I think it's more of a him just knowing his body, knowing that he can't move as fluently as he used to. I think that the fight was a good fight, but it is what it is. It was a guy that claims he's the best ever, Sal. This guy claims he's the best ever, and he fought a guy that's not even relative in the division today. So to me, the term the best ever or even an all-time great is just hard for me to say at this stage anyway. Maybe I'll feel differently after Mayweather's retired for 5 years, but right now I think Mayweather is the best of his era today, and I'll leave it at that.
I think that's a good way to leave it. I will tell you, you are right. Hey, if I was going to have my last fight and I had a chance to pick my favorite sparring partner who I know would make me glisten and look good, I still wouldn't do it. I want the toughest son of a gun out there so I can knock him out. but with all due respect, let's say Mayweather, he chose this guy for obvious reasons. And I did not see Berto fight the kind of fight that I would want. I was more impressed with Mayweather, his style of handling the fight, than I was really with Berto. I didn't think Berto rose to the occasion I was hoping he would. Like always, he did show a little offense. He didn't throw those punches the way I thought he would, punches and bunches. And, I didn't see him effectively cut the ring off. Now, is that because he was he's not capable of doing so, or is that because, you're in with Mayweather, who can move and offset you and make you think twice? Now, I don't know on that level, but I think that Mayweather had an easy enough time. He took the fight to Berto at times, and Berto, when he tried to take it to Mayweather, he just couldn't cut off that ring effectively, and he let Mayweather do what he wanted to do, the way we always assume Mayweather's going to do with all of his opponents. And, like I said, it's a combination. Is that a sign of greatness? Surely not the greatest of all time. No, forget about it. But for his era and his opponent, he does have some more of my respect on that level. Now you put him in with the Duran, with a Leonard, with anybody else, forget about it. He wouldn't be seen round 6.
Yeah, but I mean, from your perspective, here's a guy, and here's the thing with me, Sal, and I know we've talked about it, maybe not the other day, but we've talked about it. I wouldn't have any problem with Floyd. Well, his antics outside the ring aside, I wouldn't. Yeah,
we don't even want to think about that. That right there, I have no respect for it.
Exactly. But as far as his performances inside the ring, as a whole, for his whole career, I don't know if I could say anything bad about him until he said he was the best ever. When he said that, to me, Sal, it changed everything. And the best ever is such a statement. I mean, considering all the fighters that have been fighting, all the way back to even, the 1800s, during my guys' time, but the bottom line is from that time all the way up to today, to suggest that you're the best ever, I mean, to be the best ever, to even be discussed in that conversation, you got to do these great things. And what bothers me the most is the greatest thing he's done, at least to date, is he's undefeated at 49-0, and he's made $1 bazillion. I mean, aside from that, he's never dominated. I mean, they're calling the fight against Berto, oh, he dominated, oh, he destroyed him, oh, he did this. Well, I don't know if I saw it that way. I saw him win. I scored at 117-111. I mean, he certainly didn't struggle, but it wasn't a performance that made me say, wow, boy, am I going to remember that fight. I can't remember any of his fights, to be honest with you.
No, nor can I. I really don't. And you know what? It showed in the crowd and in the tickets and in the pay-per-view, reducing the prices and things like that. As fights, there wasn't that interest. He's never been the kind of crowd favorite where people would line up after a previous bout that they weren't satisfied with, and we know what he did with Pacquiao. That was the total blunder there on that level. But I think for all in all, if you look at some of the greatest of all time that could tout that and tout themselves, and look at the era when Muhammad Ali would be in front of the microphone saying, "I'm the greatest fighter of all time," and he didn't get too many fans from that because nobody likes a cocky fighter that's arrogant, this and that at times, unless they could back it up. And Ali kind of backed it up because Ali attained, and Ali was great. Ali attained greatness. And I think as history books and time go on and on, Muhammad Ali is going to always be in the mix of being one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. I don't ever see this for Floyd Mayweather. No, I don't. I think he's going to be considered very good, popular welterweight, but for whatever it is, he's definitely not the greatest of all time. No,
well, here's the thing. Well, first of all, I think that the poor attendance and if they release the actual numbers, I'm predicting that the pay-per-view buys are going to be pretty low. I think that's indicative of the majority of the fight fans saying that they're not interested in that matchup. But prior to that, Floyd, I mean, we can't knock him. I mean, the guy did great with draw and everything else. People wanted to go see him, whether they wanted to see him win or lose.
True.
Your point about Ali, the difference between Ali, when I watched Muhammad Ali fight, sometimes I was a fan of his and sometimes I wasn't. But now, 30 years later, 40 years later, everyone loves Ali because he's bigger than boxing. He's an ambassador to life, worldwide. He's probably the most recognized sports figure in the world today still. So I think that
Yes.
puts him in a different class, you know. As far as people remembering Floyd as the best, remember something. You know, you and I, we look at things through, you know, our age eyes, and we get to compare eras, you know, from your era and then even beyond your era. And we look at fighters like that. But remember, in 20 or 30 years from now, we're not going to be the guys talking about who the best is. We're going to be dealing with guys that are in their 20s and 30s now that become our age, and they're going to be remembering the Floyd Mayweathers of the world. That's a different way to put it in perspective. My fear is that they will begin to think of him as a great, great fighter, and further, you know, put the guys that we're trying to keep in memory further and further out of reach.
Well, I think the guys that we do keep in memory, Billy, I think they etch their mark. They carve their names in the hearts and in the passion, in the record books. And I do not think the legends of the past will have trouble sustaining their level of excitement as long as they're continued and carried on and promoted. I do see 20, 30 years from now, maybe we will see Mayweather having a little bit more of, hey, this guy, if he does truly retire and he's undefeated, you know, he's going to get some credit for that. And, of course, his fights will be brought up, and they'll look at this, and they'll say how good he was, how moving. And maybe that whole generation, that era, will show that he was even better than you and I thought he was. I don't know. I think, you know, it's a tough call. It really is. I'm just glad we're coming to the end of the Mayweather era. I think he's good. And I will tell you this, and where I give him credit, where I give him respect. You know what? No matter what, the guy comes in the ring, always in shape, and always capable of doing what he has to do. I saw Berto. Berto was gassed by the 6th round. He had to get a good second win to try and pull it out. But he was plotting, and he was already at a gas by the 6th round. Mayweather, you know, whether you like him or not, and I'm not a big fan of it. We said that, but he comes into the ring and he's in shape. He can fight and he can move and he can, even though his legs may be Asian, maybe he misses a step, he could still pull off with being conditioned and being able to execute what he has to do to win. And like I was talking with John, Mr. Eunice, the other day, after the fight, we both were right on in this fact. What if in Mayweather's mind and head, when he chose boxing to be his future, by that time Muhammad Ali was already suffering from the Parkinson's syndrome? And that's a key word, syndrome, because it's not Parkinson's disease. It's the symptoms that mimic the actual disease. The trauma that he took, the punishment to his head, the rattling of the skull, the brain. That's what the end result is. And I love Muhammad Ali. And like you said, he's an ambassador of life on so many levels. But maybe Mayweather saw that and said, hey, guess what? I'm good at fighting. I'm fast. I can flip punches. I can move. If this is the game where I can hit people and get out of the way and not be hit, hey, I'm good at this. I'm like a swordsman. I'm like a foil expert. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna strike and I'm gonna move. I'm gonna strike and I'm gonna move. Maybe that was just his approach, because he said, hey, guess what? I want to be able to play with my grandchildren in 30, 40 years. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to have an active future. I don't know. Again, I'm not Mayweather, but I'm just saying, what if? Maybe that was it. Maybe that's what led him to his style, to strike and get out of the way. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's great.
But,
I don't criticize him for that. But don't tell me you're
No.
the best ever. Don't cherry pick your opponents. Don't cherry pick your opponents and tell everybody that they're the toughest out there. I just can't help but going back in time and thinking of these great fighters who seeked out the best available, not the easiest available, Sal. That's the big difference.
I know.
Floyd seeks out the easiest available for him. He picks out their gloves, he picks the location, he picks the ring, he picks the judges, he picks the testing, he picks the referees. I mean, he gets a say in every friggin' thing. And to me, that's not a great fighter. Listen, I was never a huge Sugar Ray Leonard fan. I'll admit, I was never.
Neither was I.
Okay, but Sugar Ray Leonard, I could never knock the guy. for retiring, then coming back and seeking out the best guy that's available in Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Best guy. The guy was controlling the division for almost 10 years. This was a guy that was a weight class above what Sugar Ray Leonard fought at. That's greatness. When fighters go and do that. Even Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. comes back and fights at heavyweight. Yeah, he fought John Ruiz, but so what? He beat a heavyweight, became a heavyweight champ. That's what great fighters do, Sal. They don't cherry pick and hand pick their fighters and make sure that everything's in their favor. Listen, again, I'm going to reiterate that the bottom line is I wouldn't blame Floyd, just especially for all the reasons you just gave, if that's what it is. But the guy had to put his own head on the chopping block and set his own standard high when he said he was the best ever. That changes my outlook on the guy. That's it. That's the truth. That's the bottom line, right?
That's, what? Just like our old favorite president, my old favorite president in my lifetime, I'm going to say, well, Billy, there you go again. And I'm telling you right now, you're right on. And, if he's going to tout he's the greatest, he's the best, then let him rise to the occasion and seek out the greatest and the best. And do not have so much play or demand on the conditions of your fight and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and what's the whole thing going to be about. I mean, these guys that fought whoever was the best at their time, they never had all that kind of say or pull. It was just, hey, guess what? It's a promoter. Promoter's calling the shots on this level. You're both fighting with 8-ounce gloves. You're both going to agree to fight to the Marcus of Queensberry rules. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. And may the best man win. That's the whole thing. May the best man win. And like I said, we're going to look at the years. And surely, Sugar Ray Robinson, Floyd Mayweather's no Sugar Ray Robinson.
He's not even many fighters. He's not even a Sugar Ray Leonard, So
no, he's not.
Here's the thing. Now we get a chance. Let's turn the page on Mayweather. Let's forget about Mayweather. We got 3 big fights coming up. That and a lot of really, really good, talented young fighters that I hope the boxing world starts to focus on and follows them. We got a heavyweight matchup coming up between Vladimir Klitschko and Tyson Fury. I'm looking forward to that. And another fight that's after that one is in October, and I'm looking forward to coming to St. Simon's again for the Triple G David Lemieux fight. It's going to be a huge event. Everybody knows that the fight is going to be extremely entertaining. The undercard is extremely entertaining, at least on paper. It's coming at you from Madison Square Garden, so there's going to be a lot of hype there. What's your quick thoughts on that fight? Even though we got about a month to talk about it, this is 2 action-packed guys that come at you. It's not going 12, Lemieux against Triple G.
No, it's not. It's not going to go 12 rounds. I'll tell you what. Those are kind of fighters, and these are going to be the kind of matches and fights that the future of boxing is going to be in a delicate balance, because we need to see more of these guys. These guys are future stars of boxing, and with a little personality and a lot of leather behind them, they're gonna help bring and resurrect boxing to the top. That's what we need. We need personalities. We need the fighters to put it on the line to attain greatness, and to want to fight the best opponents out there. Not have a milk-fed role as far as, hey, guess what? We're gonna keep it soft. The greatness, you seek the best. You don't want it easy. You want it hard, because you want to be the one on top when it's going to be difficult. Who is it? The winners find an answer to every situation, every problem. Losers find a problem with every answer. I mean, you can analogize it any which way you can lose, but you know what? Let's start seeing the mix of the greatest, the best fighters, the best pound for pound, the best weight class division. Who's the top contenders? Let's get these guys together. And I think David Lemieux and Triple G is going to be just a reflection of some of the great things in that weight division that we can count on.
Yeah,
and I'm excited about that. I want to bring that fight here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I'm going to try to do some extra stuff with that one as well. And then we have another good one coming up in November, just before the holiday, a huge fight between Miguel Cotto and Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I know you're an Alvarez fan. You like watching that kid. I mean, a Mexican against Puerto Rico. You know, we have the classic rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico. That ought to be another one. I mean, these are fights that we don't have to even hear the first bell yet, and we know that they're going to be entertaining.
They're going to be exciting. You know, we know you and I, and your smart fans out there, because they do know fights. And let me tell you something, styles make fight. And you're looking at two styles opposing each other, and that's going to be reflected in a great contest, a great fight. And I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. I think he's maturing. I think he's growing. I think he's got a little ways to go yet, but he's not peaked, but he's definitely on his way. Cotto's a good veteran. He's definitely capable of facing any opponent in any situation, and he comes in the ring to fight. He comes into the ring to win. So you're gonna put two top contenders facing each other, and there's gonna be, well, I was gonna say one man's gonna win, but we always know he saw it draw the other night. You know, so you never know.
Well, listen, Sal, time flies. I just wanted to thank you again before we let you go for another great event. And especially, I want to thank your staff, including my man Max and Heather, who made
Max
everything.
Did a great job for you guys. He made some great pizza, didn't he? I made you one too, Bill.
Yeah, no, yours. I got to admit, yours was the one. Yours was the one I ate the whole. I mean, you know how I like it. You know, I mean, he tries. He came close, but you made it the right way. And Heather did a great job as usual, and I loved chatting with Jordan. She was a lot of fun, and the many Joshes you have, and all the rest of them that I can't remember their names.
We have a lot of Joshes.
Yeah.
We have a lot, yeah, but Billy, we enjoyed you, and Carl was great, and Carl King was great, and so is John. John just does the job. He puts his nose to the grind. He makes it come alive. He's the wind beneath the wing on a lot of levels. And, yeah, John's a great guy. I love him. I love all you guys. It's a fun time. There's a lot of synergy, and I think we're going to build on it and continue to grow with it. I'm really appreciative of having the opportunity to work with you guys. It's great.
Well, I'm already jonesing for another slice, so I guess hopefully I'll be seeing you. Hopefully I'll be seeing you in another month, man. I gotta.
I hope so.
Hopefully the gas is cheap again, man. You know, I paid on the way back. I paid $1.99 a gallon, which is really cheap. I mean, up here I'm paying in New York. I'm paying $2.40. I'm paying $2.40 for a gallon of gas in New York, man.
You kidding me?
No, and on the way back, two states I went through. I paid $1.99. So hey, that wasn't bad. It's still.
But not only that, but they you got to pump your own gas down here, and you're not going to wait for an attendant. They're not going to be wrecking or fixing or anything. You're going to be getting out of your car in the pouring rain. You're going to be pumping your own gas. Maybe that saves a nickel off the cost of fuel. Who knows?
No, I always like to pump my own gas, except in Jersey. You're not allowed to get out of your car, But
forget about it.
Anyway, Sal, it was a great time. Great seeing all you guys, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Billy, thank you. And again, I want to thank Dax for advertising, all you guys advertising, all your fans have been supportive. And we saw a few. They showed up for the fight, the ones down south there. It was great. And I really appreciate having the opportunity and building some of the popularity with your following and your people in chat room and everything else. It's great to talk to you all. I want to wish you all the very best. Have a great week ahead. God bless everyone. And thank you so much, Billy.
All right, my man. Listen, we'll have you back next week, and I'm sure you and I will chat during the week.
We will, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That's my main man, Sal Rocky Cenicola, calling us from Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria Ristorante Italiano. If you're looking for the best Italian food, authentic Italian food, well, listen, let me send you to his website so you can drool over it first. You got to look at it, right? And then you drool. It's www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. And then after you're drooling all over yourself, give my man a call, 912-268-2328. That's 912-268-2328.